rise, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the regular meeting for July 17th, 2018. Clerk, will call the roll.
Here. Garriga. Halloran. Here. Johnson. Here. Lewis. Moranti.
Here.
Nizam.
Here.
Rosenthal.
Here.
Sauer.
Here.
Volo.
Here.
President DiPietro.
Here.
Quorum present.
A motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the June 19th or 27th meetings and place them on file unless anyone has any changes. Do I have a second? Sure. Rob. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Motion to dispense with the reading of the City Treasurer's report as of May 31st and June 30th of this year and place them on file. Do I have a motion? Irene, and a second? John? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. May I have, on your desk are copies of the various committee reports. May I have a motion and a second to place committee reports on file? A motion? Rob? Second? Dewan? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion is carried. Okay, we have two communications. One from our accountant, Stewart, Allen and Churchill, providing professional standards. And then we have a letter from Maya Reed of Hudson regarding the appointment of a commissioner of police and in general on community input in police matters. May I have a motion and a second to receive the communications and place them on file? Motion? No? A second? Chair. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. There is a list of bills on your desk. Any questions from the council? No? Can I have a motion to pay the bills? Rob? Second? Eileen? A roll call vote, please.
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halloran. Aye. Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Nizam.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
President DiPietro.
Abstain.
Carried.
The resolutions that we moved forward last week. A resolution be it resolved that the following is appointed Commissioner of Deeds in the City of Hudson and Columbia County. Susan Harmon of 560 Warren Street. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halloran. Aye. Johnson. Aye. Moranti.
Aye.
Nizam.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
President DiPietro.
Abstain.
Carried.
next resolution is supporting the route selection of Empire State Trail through the city of Hudson. Can I have a roll call vote? Oh, I'm sorry. That's fine. Sorry. This is the selling the property at 67 Fairview. May I have a roll call vote? This requires 3/4 approval of the council.
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Nissan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
Presley Pietro.
Aye.
Carried.
In case you're wondering, as I've explained a number of times, when a vote requires more than a simple majority, then I do vote. Otherwise, it's really up to the council. Okay, the next resolution is supporting the route selection for the Empire State Trail through the city of Hudson. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Nissan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo.
Just to confirm that this is, the parking will not be taken off of College Street, right?
Presley Pietro.
Abstain.
Carried.
The next resolution is which you approved last week, is moved forward last week, is the appropriation of monies for the events committee, the former Arts and Entertainment and Tourism Awards. Any questions from the council?
I just have a small correction.
Yes, correction.
Yeah, Andy Kamal pointed this out last week. On Hudson Hall number 1, should be 12/1/2018, 2108.
Nice catch, Kamal. Can I have a roll call vote?
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Nissan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
Presley Pietro.
Abstain. The next resolution is supporting the efforts of the Friends of Oakdale Lake. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Nissan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
Presley Pietro.
Abstain.
Carried.
The next is we're adopting the Strategic Housing Action Plan for the City of Hudson. Dominic, you do not need to abstain, by the way. Going to our attorney. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Guian.
Can we ask a question?
Sure, sorry.
So, so this didn't go to the housing committee, correct? This went directly to us from...
Right, because the housing chair was on the task force.
Okay.
And it had, the front, I don't know if you have your front page of it, but it gives you the full listing of who was on the
Right.
task force.
So that's why it wasn't vetted through the housing committee first?
Right. That's one of the reasons. The other reason is we were hoping to get it in place for this round of CFA grants. So if you want us, wait again.
And CFA grants for us when? At the end of August?
In the July.
We have a choice.
Roll call vote?
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Nissan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
Presley Pietro.
Abstain. The next resolution supports Heights Nest grant application to New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historical Preservation to improve and expand the urban garden and public access park space to be located at 57 and 59 North Front Street, a site located within the territorial jurisdiction of this council. So this is just, our support for their application. Can I have a roll call vote?
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Mizan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sarar.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
Presley Pietro.
Abstain.
Carried.
The next rather long, but actually pretty simple resolution is authorizes the mayor to execute a non-exclusive franchise agreement with Mid-Hudson Cable. The council knows, but the public might not, that this only relates to the service for television, cable service. It has nothing to do with the internet. Is that fair enough? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Mizan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sarar.
Aye.
Volo.
I just want to add a big thank you to Alderwoman Eileen Halleran for helping with this through economic development, because she reconciled all the franchise fees with the treasurer's office, and also Calvin for helping out with this. So this was a group effort on economic development, and thank you to Hudson Cable for being so open and transparent. Thank you. Aye.
Presley Pietro.
Abstain.
Carried.
The next resolution authorizes conveyance of real property. It's a property swap between HCBPA and a piece of city property, which gives HCBPA a piece of city property that's next to one of their properties that makes it potentially developable. It's that piece of property we're all aware of down in front, across the street from the chamber. Right now, it's two parcels, one owned by the city, one owned by HCBPA. So we're giving them that parcel. They're giving us a parcel of equal worth on Warren Street. I believe it's the 235, that little park. Do I have a roll call? Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Mizan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sarar.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
Presley Pietro.
Abstain. Oh, we need, oh, right, yes.
Carried.
This last one is a resolution adopting the Columbia County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. And as Eileen and I discovered, this is a 518-page document. Which we're not sure exactly what it does. It seems to have been sitting around at the county level for how many years, Eileen?
A few years back.
3 years. And suddenly they asked us to move it forward, and we're not even sure what it is. It's been introduced and seconded. Should we just, would you like to vote on it, or should we table it till we find out more?
I'd like to table it.
I'd like to vote on it, know what it is.
Right.
That's like,
Right. There just wasn't time to read the whole 5 pages during last meeting. So do I have a motion to table this resolution? Rob, second. Eileen. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Okay, now we have some new ones. Resolution number 11, we're accepting donations on behalf of the Hudson Fire Department in memory of the late firefighter Mark Graziano. This is a donation of $300. I'm sorry, $300 from Joanne Graziano, and also $300 from Taconic Foundation matching her donation, $600. Can I have an introduction and a second? Dewan and Rob, a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Mizan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sarar.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
Presley Pietro.
Abstain.
Carried.
The next resolution is new, but we did discuss it last week. It has to do with authorizing a loan from the general fund to the capital fund for the purchase of the necessary fire apparatus. I think we talked about it last week. What this apparatus is are some necessary air packs. May I have an introduction and a second? Rob, Eileen. Do we need further discussion? Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Nissan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
Present Pietro.
Abstain.
Carried.
Okay, another new resolution. This authorizes the mayor to execute a license agreement with Bodie and Hudson Paddles. I don't know if you had a chance to read this before tonight's meeting. Andy, did you?
Yeah, if the council has any questions, essentially, what it is, if you look at our vendor log, you know, the services that are being provided here are often provided under the nature of a vendor's license, but when you read the strict language of that, and it's something I think we should talk about in the legal committee about potentially changing it in the future, I didn't feel comfortable having it fit within that vendor's application. So my suggestion was that we do a license agreement so that it came before the council. It mirrors those fees. It provides recreational opportunities at Riverfront Parking and at Oakdale Lake. But then that way, you've got something documented, you have a baseline. It's for essentially a period of time from now to the end of the summer. You know, we run it to the 30th of November. Not sure how much paddleboarding will be going on in November in Oakdale Lake, but at least this way the council's aware of it and you have a baseline to kind of get a report on how it goes.
And how are the fees established?
If you look at the license fees, they kind of mirror that. That's where the $200 for each location. They provided me with binders of insurance on both organizations for both locations. So I have that.
Thank you. I have an introduction and a second. Eileen, Rob, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Nissan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
Present Pietro.
Abstain.
Carried.
Resolution number 14. This is a seeker resolution for the 2018 CFA Empire State Development Grant Funds application involving the Empire State Development Parking Study. So we're making a finding.
Well, what it is you need to do, they provided us, you need to make, you know, a seeker finding in connection with this, even to make the application. And what you're finding is that it's a ministerial application, hence it's exempt. But in order to file the package, you know, the city needs to demonstrate that they made that determination. It's a pretty logical one. Nothing's been done. It'll be seeker done in connection with any work that would come out of the study. This is literally authorizing the application to apply for the study to look at what those impacts would be. But this is one of those things that if you don't do that, they would not accept the application.
Got an introduction and a second. John? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Nissan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
Present Pietro.
Abstain.
Carried.
And the next resolution authorizes the mayor to apply for and receive funding for this same parking study. Can I have an introduction and a second? Dewan? And Rich. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Nissan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
Present Pietro.
Abstain.
Carried.
The next resolution is that the city treasurer is authorized and directed to transfer funds from one water account to another water account. As Rob Perry explained to me today, there are over 100 lines in the DPW budget, so there's constant change between funds. It's not a big deal. Can I have an introduction in a second? Rob? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Mizan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo. Presley Pietro.
Abstained.
Carried.
The next resolution is also related to the fire department air packs. It authorizes the acquisition of the air packs for fire department purposes and the issuance of serial bonds to the city of Hudson in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $360,000 and delegating certain powers in connection therewith to the city treasurer. And as you know, if we get the grant for these, possibly they will be reimbursed, but that's not definite by any means. Can I have an introduction and a second? Brian? Rich? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Mizan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo. Presley Pietro.
Abstained.
Carried.
Our 18th resolution is applying for funding a CFA grant, a water quality improvement program for necessary improvements to the Power Avenue wastewater pump station. May I have an introduction and a second? Eileen? John? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Mizan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
Presley Pietro.
Abstained.
Carried.
And our last resolution authorizes a budget amendment to the youth department accounts to allow the youth department to run the concession stand at Oakdale Park Summer Camp. In the past, this was handled a bit differently. They used an outside vendor. Now they're going to do it themselves. May I have an introduction in a second? Come on, Rob. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Guian.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Mizan.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo. Presley Pietro.
Abstained.
Carried.
Now, the proposed local law, number 4, amending the city code to add chapter 91, present 91, pertaining to vacant buildings. May I have a motion and a second to enact the proposed local law? John, Rich. Oh, sorry.
We discussed the process of this, so after this goes through, what's the next step?
I think we have to have a public hearing. Yeah, the mayor will schedule a public hearing and then we sign it or not.
Can we ask questions before we accept this?
Sure.
Okay. John, first of all, thank you. I think this is, the legal committee's done a great job with this.
Also, it's all the very good. Instrumental.
Great. The only thing I'd like to discuss, and Andy, maybe you can answer this question, under Section 8, our vacant building fees, 2A, B, C, and D, is there a reason why the fees are set that way, or is there an opportunity for us maybe to double those fees for each of those years? I just feel that entering, and I realize this is a template taken from other cities and things, but a $500 fee to have a building put on in vacancy for a year, it should be at least $1,000 in my mind. And I just think that $500 with everything going on in the city, we could do a little better than that.
Yeah, I mean, I believe there were discussions about that at the legal committee, but certainly you do ability to modify those numbers.
I mean, my suggestion would be for A, B, C, and D, so, I'm sorry, going back to the first year at $250, that would be $500, year 2 could be $1,000, year 3 could be $2,000, year 4 could be $3,000, and year 5 and succeeding could be $4,000. So I just doubling those fees, I mean, that's my suggestion on this.
Any other motion to change it?
You could, I mean, I think you had a motion, I don't know if you had a second, I think Rich had a question.
Oh, yeah. No, we don't have a second.
Right. So if Rob was going to make a motion to amend the local law specifically,
Yes.
91.3H2.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to amend that, so do you want me to read through those again?
If you could.
Okay. So the first year annual fee shall be $500. A, the second year annual fee shall be $1,000. B, the third year annual fee will be $2,000. C, the fourth year annual fee will be $3,000. And D, the fifth and succeeding years will be $4,000.
Do I have a second to that motion? Rich, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So they just make that, I don't consider that as a substantial, so I'll make that change.
A roll call vote, please.
Alderman Guiana.
Aye.
Halleran.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Human.
Aye.
Rosenthal.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Volo.
Aye.
Presley Pietro. Carried.
Okay. Now for what you're next to hear. Proposed local law number 5, amending the city zoning law with regard to conditional uses in the R2 and R2H zoning districts. Does the council have any questions?
Procedure on this one as well?
Yes.
Same? There, public hearing prior to the...
No, we'll have, it will go to the mayor rather, we have to have it here. So if we approve this tonight, then we have to have a public hearing. Then it goes to the mayor, correct?
Well, this is just
We're
laying
just
it.
laying it
Oh,
on
we're
the
laying
board.
it.
Yeah, so this will be laid on the desks. You'll see
Yes.
there's also going to be a resolution moving it to be reviewed by county planning. It'll also be reviewed by the city planning board. That will occur, it may very well occur after our August meeting.
So then it comes back to us.
Then we'll have the referral from county planning, at which point you'd be in a position to begin discussing it in September.
So this is accepting.
To lay it for further discussion, as we just did on the other one.
And that's when the host agreement will come, that amount, that will come back to us, we'll complete it.
Yeah,
And we'll vote on this again.
Right, if you were to enact a local law with the community host benefit component in it, anyone applying to the planning board, that would be something that would be a condition of a planning board approval. So that would be something that typically they would kind of move through their site planning process, and at a certain point, kind of do the fact finding for this body, and then the actual community host benefit coming out of that site plan review, special use permit review, would then come to the council.
So may I have a motion and a second to lay the proposed local law on the Alderman's desk? Motion and a second. John? Irene? Now may I have a motion and a second to refer the proposed local law to Columbia County Planning Board and City of Hudson Planning Board for their recommendations pursuant to provision of New York State General Law. Well, let me remind you that these are advisory comments. They're not binding on us in any way. May I have a motion and a second? Rob and John. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? The motion carries. So, there we are. Old business, I'm sure a lot of people would like to discuss this proposed law, which is somehow come to be called the Stewart's proposal. Anybody on the council have anything they want to discuss about it?
I mean, I think you should just sort of clarify the legal review and the audience, the amount of review that we've done and back and forth with Stewart's to try to sculpt this in a manner that is beneficial, hopefully, to the water community and specific to two historic non-conforming uses in the area, long-standing businesses. That also limits the potential for the geographic expansion if it's pursued by both. And this also, the planning component, the design component goes to the planning board. So whatever we do here, there's still a long process involved. It's not like we're rubber stamping and approving. And I would definitely like to say that the notion that this is an endorsement of some sort of big box commercial development in Hudson is specious, because the resolution as it stands is fairly constrained and limited compared to what they initially proposed, which was an overlay district that would have really changed the community fabric in that neighborhood in a very drastic way. As it stands, that intersection is a problem. I think we'd all agree with that. As a community, we don't have the money to deal with those infrastructure problems there. So if we can use our leverage that we have via local law to enter into any type of agreement with stakeholders, be them corporations or individuals, I think it's our duty to work with them to try to gain a wider benefit for the community. Given that it's ironic that it comes to us because of the very haphazard or antiquated way that we've done planning in the past, I think taking advantage of this opportunity to then, as my personal opinion, if we do get a community host benefit agreement, it would be best utilized toward a general comprehensive plan and revisiting of how we do planning period here, so we have real smart, innovative planning as opposed to reactive and antiquated. So that said, that's obviously my personal opinion. Any type of post-benefit agreement would have to be negotiated with the Water Council and per their preferences. So I'd just like to say that this is not some sort of willy-nilly rush into ill-considered development. It's trying to deal with a persistent, long problem. Unfortunately, it's been mischaracterized by people in the community who have self-interest about types of development. But we're trying to do our best here, so that's all I have to say.
And the planning board will insist on mitigation, and that's where the intersection comes into play. That's how we get it done, through the mitigation process. A community host agreement is then on top of that. And as John says, that's not necessarily going to be a comprehensive plan. It could be a lot of things. And that will be decided by the council at large. And for those who were here when Stewart's attorney was here, and she'll be back, there's an amazing array of things that they have sponsored throughout the state through these community host agreements. And, you know, we will be open to all the possibilities. I don't know what else there is to say. If the public would like to contribute in some fashion in a way that furthers this conversation, be my guest. Yes, Mr.
Michael Stewart, 12 Fairview Avenue. Good crowd tonight. Anybody park across the street? Because anybody that parked across the street, if to get to your car when you leave the meeting, you got to go down to the crosswalk, painted in there. And there's a crosswalk up at 6. There's one at 5th and one at 6th. If you believe crosswalks are going to solve any problem at Fairview Green Street, Okay? Painted crosswalks aren't going to change it. Grand problems that we have there, and hours working with Stewart's. I sit at my kitchen table last night. To my left is Scali's. To my right is Stewart's. I can see them both. Hours spent working with Stewart's. And nobody knocks on my door and says, hey, Mike, I'm a stakeholder in this battle. You can't change this corner over here and this corner over here. I'm left out in a loop on this. When I first started getting involved with this, it was the Stewart's. It was Stewart's. Well, now it's Stewart's and Scali's. I mean, I've been coming to a few meetings. I don't know how Scali snuck in the door. And now it's, you know, and now see, I'm the public. I depend on Gossips of Rivertown. Carol, if you're here, God bless you. Okay, I depend on Gossips of Rivertown, not the Register Star, the things I hear in the street. I get no communication from the city. Nobody knocking on my door. I'm dependent upon Carol. I've been to a few meetings. Scali sneaks in. I'm a stakeholder in this. And as far as I'm concerned, at this point, Stewart's can do anything they want. God bless Stewart's. Scali's can do anything they want. God bless them. Now, I should be able to do anything that I want. You can't come up with this and then point at me and say, well, you can't turn your garage into a bicycle shop because you're R1. Oh, you're R1. You can't do that where you are. R1 people can't do those kind of things. I can't expand my property. They can't expand theirs, you know. So I would just like to be involved. If any committee comes out of this thing, it's going to work with Stewart. I'm a stakeholder. I want to be informed. All right, and I want to be on the committee because I come to meetings. You know, this is, if I don't pay attention, this gets railroaded in. Or maybe not.
Very slow rail.
Yeah, things move fast when you're not paying attention.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So that's my take on the matter. I'm a stakeholder in this. I should be involved in this. You can't sit down and say, well, the Scali's corner and the Stewart's corner are unique and nobody else is going to want to change their designation. What about me? I'm right there. Now, if you call me R1, I expect a benefit of being R1. All right? I should have restrictions on me as R1, but I should also receive some sort of benefit as R1. I should receive some sort of protection as R1. Otherwise, I'm not really R1. You know, it's Christmas time. You got two boys and a girl. The girl's in the middle. She's middle-aged. So let's give presents to the boys, but we're not going to give a present to the girl because, sorry, you're a girl. You don't get a present. And we're not even going to talk to you about Christmas. That's the way I'm treated. So there you have it. Stewart's can do what they want, but then I do what I want. And if I can't, then I expect some protection. I expect an R1 benefit. And right now, I have no R1 benefit. If you look at city zoning and you want to use this money from Stewart's to redo a comprehensive plan and claim that there's Hillary's emails is the problem, if you look at your truck route through the city of Hudson, 3rd Street, Worth Avenue, the 2 blocks on Fairview Avenue where I live, on the east side, are the only blocks in the city on the truck route that are not zoned commercial. How come? So if we want to look at zoning, let's take a look. If you're going to come around my corner, you know, I've been there 61 years, longer than Scali, longer than Stewart's. My son's been there for 16. He does not know another house to live in. So, only those 2 blocks are zoned R1 on the whole truck route. I've got trucks in front of me, trucks on the side of me. I'm R1. I expect some protection. I expect some benefit. And I expect to be included on any committee. Carol comes to my house. The mayor's been to my house. I'm not a terrible person. You can knock on my door. I'm in the phone book. If anybody you want. So, there you have it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely part of the conversation, and you will always be part of the conversation. I think, in fact, if you were to survey your neighbors and find out how they feel about being in an R1 district, that might be helpful too. There's nothing saying that we couldn't rezone that part of the city.
My neighbors, to the left of me, to the right of me, are making money on residential properties. To the left of me, number 10, I believe, two-family, the owner lives in Greenport. To the right of me, the two-family, the owner lives in Taconic. He's making money. Next to them, somebody just bought it. They spent thousands of dollars renting. Nice renovation. They're going to be making money. Next to Stewart's on each side, it's all rented out. There's no resident homeowners in that neighborhood anymore. You know, except me. You know, everybody else is making money. To an extent, they're making money. So, to ask my neighbors if they mind being called R1, they...
How are you just the only R1, the only single family there?
There's a single family further on down the block. Maybe that would be number 28, Mrs. Sullivan's house. She's the only other one. Then you get down on the next block. On the next block, across the street from the 4 Galvan units, which was a bad deal. I saw that 4 or 5 years ago when they knocked down the 200-year-old house. Across the street from that, you've got the giant apartment buildings. Already 8 units each. That's a business. And it's not, the owner's not living there. So I'm the only 2 blocks zoned R1.
Have you applied for a zoning variance?
No, I haven't, because I'm a happy guy, and then Stewart's came along, and, I listed my house for sale, because Paul DeCross is a friend of mine, Colo banker, and my wife works with him, and I said, Paul, let's list my house, see what happens. When people love the pictures of my house. When they see where it is, nobody wants to look at it. Okay, so I'm not getting any benefit from being an R1. And if you want to look deeper into the issue, that little section of Green Street, from Stewart to Scali's, is not on a real truck route map. It's not a truck route with the state of New York on the official truck route map. Official New York State truck route map, they go up to Gilly Boulevard and cross over and back. Now, I don't know who wants to call Pete Colarusso tomorrow and tell him not to run his trucks through there, but it's not on the map. And I could push that with the city and tell them, hey, you got to stop the trucks. I want an R1 benefit or change it. I want to be on any committee that's got anything to do with Scali's and Stewart's. If you spend hours working with Stewart's, you can call me. I'll spend hours with you.
In fairness, it's also talking about the wider community concerns, not just
The wider community concern.
Because that's the problem. Everybody has to balance their self-interest with the wider interest of the community.
Everybody wanted a dog park too. Son of a gun, we didn't get that dog park because the wider benefit for the community. I was part of a group that used to be down here in the North Dock. And that was all locals, local people. Some lived in Greenport, Stottville, Hudson people went to the same school. Then the state came up and says, hey, Hudson, every other town up and down Hudson River, you got to come up with an LWRP if you still want to get money. So the city comes in, oh yes, we'll form an LWRP committee, and they invited everybody to the table except the people that were hanging around in those shacks down there. St. Lawrence Cement got a seat at the table. Powerboat got a seat at the table. Olana got a seat at the table. Land Conservancy got a seat at the table when they came up with the LWRP. The 150 people that were down in the North Dock weren't invited to the table. And now we have bad blood in this community that continues to this day. Because somebody wasn't invited to the meeting. Somebody wasn't invited to the committee. You know, so these things are cooked up. And I have to be on top of this, and I get emotional about this because I'm tired of coming down here. I got other things to do. And I got to come down here, you know, to protect my neighborhood. Or, you know, give me some kind of benefit. You can't take away from me, you know. I'm sorry for the community. You know, Hudson's a great community. That's why I live here. It starts at Scali's. It doesn't start there. Greenport starts the other side of Route 66. It starts beyond Pearl Print. You know, and I'm not getting into, you know, why we don't need a Stewart's tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Hey, thanks. Timothy O'Connor, First Board. Mike, you make some good points. You know I agree with a lot of them. but in fact, the Ferger guys were there for the LWRP hearing, the GEIs. And another thing, you weren't at the last legal committee meeting. I was, and I wondered why you weren't there. So I think you make some good points, but you can't get too, miffed about it all. If you didn't go to the meeting, you have to go to the meetings. It's a pain in the ass. I know, sorry. You have to go. Sorry.
So, before we move on, any more comments related to the Stewart's, to the proposed local law? Before we move on to other business? Yes. Yes.
Are there going to be more public, is there going to be more public input?
Why not? This is not going to happen overnight, by any means. New business. Council members have any new business they want to raise? Rich?
Just a FYI that,
Louder, please.
I'm sorry. The Economic Development Committee, we have now gotten our 4 high impact task items completed, so we are now considered a clean energy community by NYSERDA. So big thanks to Craig Haig, who went to training and who helps everything else, but it's been a long time coming, but now we will soon be. The next project is that we will receive a $35,000 grant for a solar-related project, which we'll be discussing at the next economic development. So that has been done.
Any other new business from the council? From the audience?
Tim Deegan. Mr. Howard said something, and it's hard to hear out here. And it sounded like he had reservations about, Mr. Howard sounded like he had reservations about the paddleboard thing. And I support the paddleboard thing entirely. But then all of a sudden we were voting on it. I didn't know how that happened. I'm really concerned about legislative alienation for our parks because it's something we've neglected again and again. You know, I have a problem with Hudson cruises. And is that something we're looking at here? Alienation in parks? For purposes of lease?
Yeah, no, the concern wasn't the utilization of the park for recreational purposes over a limited period of time. It was just that the nature of our vendors law didn't really seem to fit what was being proposed, and it probably should. I mean, there's some archaic language in the vendors app, and that's really why I didn't want to have the city go forward without the council, being aware that this is what was occurring.
Okay.
But it's non-exclusive. I mean, certainly it's just providing individuals an opportunity if they want to rent a kayak or go on a kayak tour for a limited period of time.
Okay, but it sounds exclusive to that company, or you made an alteration here.
It certainly is for this period of time. I mean, yes, if we get inundated with kayak rental companies, then we would have to reassess that. But what we've done with this license is we've kept it for a very short period of time. It's a 4-month license.
Have you started with alienation though at the state level?
Vietnam.
Wow. Now I love Hudson paddles, but I don't love everybody else that's using our laws. So maybe we'll talk about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, hi, Rick Rector. Just an update for everyone. As you all hopefully know, that last week the governor did announce the various DRI awards, the 13 projects. Heather and myself have been in communication with a variety of people trying to get a handle on what the next steps are. It's interesting that this is where the state has gone through 10 DRIs from the first go-around, and they've learned a lot of things, so it's kind of ever evolving, I believe, from what we understand. But just for the 13 projects, we'll be knowing a lot more. They will assign a state representative for each of the project to work with that specific project. So it's going to be a relatively complicated process, and the more we know about it, the sooner I can advise all of you. Heather and I have been in touch with previous people that have been running them in other communities to learn what works, what hasn't worked, what we should be looking for, and we feel like we've come a little bit of way now. So we're comfortable. One of the challenges is going to be, as a city, as you know, we have to have the money up front. And so Heather's working with banks and other various institutions to find out exactly how and when and why. But the state has not been so communicated. They say we'll be coming to you, other than just announcing what we all heard last week. So I think hopefully everybody likes the 13 projects. I think they made some sense, and the fun starts now.
Any other community comments or questions? Molly, you want to do the honors?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?